Hey, same clothes. Welcome back to the 5 City YouTube channel. Another huge thing that happened this weekend this whole week was International Fight Week. So definitely wanted to get on here, record another one, and just talk about UFC 276 a little. Obviously, huge lineup, biggest card of the year by design. And yeah, so definitely wanted to just maybe even start with some of the prelims, early prelims, go through what we thought was really interesting, and yeah, share our thoughts. Definitely.
Yeah, so we can start early prelims.
Let's start with the first fight. Just
kind of crazy first fight.
Yeah.
Juliana, is that Juliana?
It's actually just Julia.
Stoliarenko.
Yeah, you got the pronunciation on that.
Stoliarenko.
Sure.
So she defeated Jessica Rose Clark with a crazy armbar.
Yeah. Snapped her arm.
Breaking. Broke her elbow, dislocation, whatever you want to call it.
That's what they called it, but it didn't. It looked pretty gruesome. I watched it live the first time it happened and didn't watch any replays because I don't know, it was gross. And that Julia girl after the fight, she was saying that she was having trouble submitting people. So now she doesn't.
She puts extra pressure on
She
it.
just will snap. No. She said, we obviously don't know. We don't really put people in arm bars, but like she was saying, she doesn't hesitate to just rip it all the way through. She said she'll just break it now, and that's what she thinks people should do. I don't know. I'm not going to speak on that because I don't know how the moral.
Pretty crazy. Pretty crazy to see that. Pretty crazy for the first fight of the night.
And it was like 42 seconds into the fight, too. So, yeah, it was pretty gruesome. Literally 42. Wow, I got it right.
42 seconds.
42 seconds into the fight. See, she submitted her by armbar, dislocated her elbow, or snapped her arm, or however you want to say it.
Yeah. Good fight. Next fight, Maycee Barber defeats Jessica I. Had a retirement here. Jessica I retired, officially retired, put her gloves down. Kind of got dominated the whole fight from what I saw. I mean, Maycee Barber is pretty tough and kind of dominated her in the clinch. A lot of clinching going on. Jessica I was forcing the action to the fence, and Maycee Barber just was pummeling her with elbows.
Right.
That's just what I remember from that fight.
Yeah, she definitely was the better fighter. Like you said, Jessica I retires. Sad but not. Maybe it was her, she seemed like she said it was time. And, she's been, I don't know how old she is, but she's definitely been fighting for a long time. I've personally been watching her fight for, it seems like, 3, 4, 5 years now.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Definitely a solid career for her in the UFC. She was a pretty big name,
Yeah, for sure. It was a good fight. I mean, there was some good back and forthing on that, but just not enough from I to
really do
to combat those elbows from Barber. That's just what I saw on that. I mean,
for sure.
Sometimes that's my chair. And
that's the chair.
anyways, you can't. Sometimes Barber just had the elbows going, and that was
I mean, nothing
too
crazy in that fight either. Anything crazy significant. Want to touch on this Uriah Hall Andre Muniz fight for a second, just because Uriah Hall just did not look. I don't know. He looked very subpar.
Yeah, I just don't get it. I'm not like a lot of these. I feel too like I'm not a UFC fighter. I don't even know if I've ever been in a fight in my entire life. Maybe when I was 12 or something. But and listen, a lot of these. I think I thinking back on the card. I woke up this morning. Card was last night. We're filming it today, but I woke up this morning and I was like finding myself being critical of a lot of the fights. And I think to myself, am I just an asshole because I'm being super critical of these guys going out into a war and
literally,
But I don't know if that's just me. I like whatever I do, I put full effort into my business, this podcast, 5 City, whatever. Yeah. But I didn't see it from a lot of these guys on this card, to be honest.
Yeah.
And Uriah Hall was one of them. Sorry. You just didn't, if you're going to fight like that, you might as well retire. Yeah. Sorry. That's just my hot take of the day. But
I don't think it's a very hot take.
I don't get it, to be honest.
Yeah. He looked
what kind of motivation does he need to get in there? You're in there to fucking fight. Yeah. Are you fighting or you're not? Yeah. And he was happy to give up his back, be controlled the whole fight. And it was nothing. Even when he got out, it was like he wasn't putting any pressure on anything.
Right. That's the thing. He didn't do anything. his grappling defense was okay. I noticed he was, doing a good job of controlling Andre Muniz's hands and things like that, but nothing like when they got on the ground, they were kind of just laying there. Like he was just kind of,
exactly. I did forget about that part. So we got to give him credit because I don't know if Uriah Hall's ever been submitted. I don't know. I don't think so, but he has a great submission defense.
Yeah. And
he showed that for sure.
Because Andre Muniz, don't want to take anything away from him either, but keep going.
No, he was great. Yeah. Muniz was great, but Hall defended really, really well, but that's defended really, really well.
Right. Exactly.
Offensive, I didn't see anything from him.
It was extremely lackluster.
It was a completely defensive fight for Hall, and I just didn't see any aggression on his part.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Yeah.
Don't want to take anything away, like I said, from Muniz. He is a pretty good fighter, 23-4 in his MMA record. But the thing is, if you want to survive in the UFC, if you want to really make a name for yourself in the UFC, the way is not to fight Uriah Hall and take his back and hold him down and do nothing else.
I mean,
I don't know.
Realistically, I think, you're right. I mean, Muniz fought a good fight, but I would have loved to see a submission. He kept going after his arm, like Rogan was saying. It's like he could have had the body triangle, didn't go for that. He could have had a choke, didn't go for that.
Yeah.
He kept going after, like, repeatedly, over and over and over for the arm.
Right.
Like the whole fight.
Yeah.
That was the whole fight.
Yeah, it definitely was. And he didn't display any crazy, like you said, submissions or submission attempts or anything like that. Because we're not casual MMA fans. You watch our F1 videos, and we're new to F1. We're not really. We know.
Yeah, I'm not a fighter. I'm not a jiu-jitsu expert. I'm not a anything. But we've been watching this a pretty long time, and we're not that we're experts on anything, like our caption says for 5 City.
Yeah,
we are trying to learn as we go along, especially with F1. Not experts on that, and not really experts on UFC either.
But here's the thing: if it's an exciting grappling match, we're not bored by that. We know what an exciting jiu-jitsu fight looks like. Not jiu-jitsu fight, but a fight that has a lot of grappling, a lot of submission attempts. We're not going to call that a boring fight. We know that is a high level of MMA, and we're not bored by that. This was not that. He didn't really go for any crazy, like you said, body triangles, arm locks, anything like that. He was just really going for that arm, or he did kind of go for an arm. I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, he had 2 or 3 opportunities to put body triangle and go for the choke, and he just didn't. He just didn't do it. Yeah. So whatever. I mean, it's his choice. But
again, like I said, he got the win. He did what he needed to do for his career. He fought his fight, obviously, and he did what he needed to do, I guess.
I mean, I'm looking at the scoring now: 29-28, 29-28, and 30-27. I mean, 2 judges gave Hall 1 round. Which round? I don't get it.
I don't know. It seemed like the 3 rounds were pretty much all the same to me.
Yeah. All right, enough of that. All right, on to the next fight.
Yep, prelims now.
Dricus du Plessis against Brad Tavares.
Yep, this is an awesome fight.
I mean, this fight. I mean, okay, I'm looking at the card.
Yeah,
I mean, this was top 3.
I was going to say it had to have been at least, if not, it's definitely one of the more exciting fights. I'm sorry, it took me so long to get there, but
absolutely. Like so I started watching this fight the first round. So du Plessis basically kind of let Tavares take him over on the ground. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry. Where are you going? All right, Jared left. But anyways, I'll just keep talking. First round, I thought, du Plessis, they kind of built him up, I watched, I never heard of this guy before this fight.
Yeah.
Just being honest. Watched some highlights before, they build the fight up before the fight actually, really happens right there.
Yeah.
Look, his hands were great. Like, he's knocking people out, whatever. So I go on DraftKings, I put a parlay on. I take du Plessis, I took Garry, and I took Miller. So after the first round, I'm like, this guy is going to lose because I just bet on him.
I know.
Because I thought for sure after that first round, I'm like, what is this guy doing?
I know.
He's initiating the ground contact against a good grappler when he's not a good grappler.
I know.
I had no idea what his game plan was in that first round because I thought, this is ridiculous. Why is he doing this?
I know.
But then second round comes around, and what does he do? Yeah, he's sticking and moving. He's
standing in front of him.
He's throwing combinations and then moving back out. But I'm telling you, the way this guy fights, he looked like he was going to pass out. Like, he throws a combination and then looks like he's just done. Like, he's going to pass out.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's his body language or whatever, but
it's definitely.
But I mean, that's just got to be the way he fights, because that's what it was like for the whole second and the whole third round. He kind of dominated on, he kept the fight on the feet and dominated the second and third round on the feet.
Yeah.
But I mean, literally looked like he wanted to quit in between the time he was throwing punches.
I know.
I mean, it was crazy.
But he turned Brad Tavares' blonde tips red with blood.
Yeah.
He definitely tagged him up real good. Won via decision. And yeah, he's on his way to now 17-2.
Right.
Which is great.
Yeah.
Definitely.
No, he was so that was super exciting fight, I thought, and I just thought it was just more interesting watching for me, just watching his fighting style. I mean,
yeah,
it was just like something I haven't seen before.
Yeah,
really
pretty unorthodox. And yeah,
unorthodox. And I thought, is this guy in good shape or is he not in good shape? Because I couldn't tell. Yeah. But turns out, he was in really good shape.
Yeah, I was gonna say he stood there for 3 rounds and stayed active. Yep. So that's great.
Absolutely,
it's great. Moving on, we got Garry versus Gabe Green. So this is one that I was probably a little disappointed with, to be honest, because I thought Garry was just going to be a little more exciting. Not that he wasn't exciting.
It was a pretty good fight, though. I mean, it wasn't.
It was a good fight. Maybe I'm thinking of something else.
From what I saw, Garry dominated pretty much the whole fight, but Gabe Green is an animal. Like, the guy absorbed a lot of punishment, and he just kept coming forward. And that's what you get with Gabe Green. I've seen him fight before, and I remember him fighting. A lot of these guys, I forget about them until they're actually on the card, and I'm like, oh, yeah, I remember that guy. Right. And this guy really, really was great. Gabe Green was great, but Garry took it to him. I mean, he was the more dominant fighter.
Definitely.
It was kind of more of a stick and move kind of thing where he was, punching, getting out of the way, throwing some combinations, getting back, getting in and out. But I mean, tagged him up really good. And Gabe Green absorbed some shots that most guys would not, I thought.
I agree. I guess I was definitely probably a little in the wrong for saying it was boring. It wasn't a boring fight. I was more just expecting kind of like I don't know. It's hard to say I was expecting a crazy knockout, but I kind of was, to be honest. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Garry's 24 years old, and I think that he showed a lot of composure in this fight, just not trying to do too much either.
Right.
Right. He could have went crazy and went for the knockout, but I think he knew who he was fighting.
Yeah, and he's preserving that undefeated record. I didn't know he was 24. That's something interesting to me. Yep. I thought he was a little older. So 24 is extremely young, I feel like, for MMA. Like a prime, if you're in your prime, you're like 30. 28 to 30, 32.
Yeah, he's young.
Prime. He's really young. He showed a lot of good composure. That's something that I'm now thinking about, like you said.
Yeah, but I mean, judges' scorecard, not that the judges, we go by the judges all the time, but 30-27 straight through. So
yeah.
Dominant win looks like for Garry, and I mean, Gabe Green, nothing. He doesn't have anything to be sad about. I mean, he's going to be put right back in there with another stud and show what he's got. And
he's not.
That's the way I feel like MMA is. Even though some of these guys aren't winning,
they're not losing stock.
They are still, they're still going to be put back in good positions, on cards like this, because they know they're going to be entertaining.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I totally agree. And, I used to feel, the more I watch UFC over the years, I used to feel worse for people who lost. But then I kind of realized, like, okay, like, I don't know, they're going to be okay. Like, the next fight is going to be awesome, because if it's really someone you care about, they're going to put them.
Well, it all depends how they carry themselves through the fight, too.
Yeah.
If they lose, like Uriah Hall, and don't do anything, then, I guess I feel bad for them or whatever, that maybe they shouldn't fight anymore. But Gabe Green is gonna, he's gonna bring it no matter what.
Definitely.
I mean, you put Gabe Green against a guy like, I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there, but it's like, Bryan Barberena. I don't even know if it's the same weight class, but I'm just saying it's like those two guys, are exciting no matter what.
100%. That are going to go out there and really just show up. They're not going to have a night like Rose Namajunas and not do anything, legitimately not do anything.
I mean, you put Calvin Cater on a card, you know what you're getting.
Yeah, you're getting you're fast,
not going to get
boxing.
You're not going to get a guy that's going to go, sleepwalk through a fight and all of a sudden, try and get a victory in the last second or something.
Right.
Yeah, all right, that's good. Jim Miller defeats Donald Cerrone.
Via submission, what was it, a guillotine or something?
Yep. Guillotine. Yeah, so I thought, listen, these are two UFC veterans. This
Legends.
fight was going to give, both of these guys were tied for most UFC victories.
Yep.
Winner of this gives the winner most victories in the UFC. So
yeah,
it was a good fight. I mean, listen, I've thought the last few fights for Cerrone, I thought how much longer is he going to continue and how much longer is he going to do this? And now we know, he retired also. Yeah. And, huge deal.
That's the biggest retirement in a long time.
Yeah. I mean, it's
live retirement like
and I love Cerrone. I think he's, genuine guy and tells it like it is. And he just said, I just don't have the passion for it anymore. And, you couldn't really tell in this fight, to be honest. I thought we could tell more in the previous fights he had.
Yeah,
that he just wasn't there.
He wasn't there.
But I mean, he was
even saying it though. That maybe it was the Connor fight or the one after that he had. He said he got to the arena and just didn't want to be there. Didn't have the same whatever feelings or energy, fire that he would usually have. Just wasn't there.
Yeah, but to be honest, when this fight started, I thought they both looked really good. Like I thought Cerrone a couple times. I thought, man, he might win this fight. I thought he was landing some good shots, leg kicks, the whole thing, and Miller was kind of taken aback by that. I thought in the beginning.
Yeah.
And how it ended was Cerrone basically one slip and Miller jumped on top of him and sunk it in, and it was over. And after that, Cerrone, the one picture in my mind is after Cerrone tapped out, he gets up and he had a big smile on his face. Like, I think he was just happy it was over.
He knew. I think.
Happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if he won it, maybe he wouldn't have retired. I don't know. Maybe he was doing it either way. But yeah, he got up and he knew that whatever. I don't know. He definitely had spoke out about like crazy like anxiety and shit he was struggling with before fights, like because of fights leading up to fights and through the fight camp and things like that. Yeah. And he had these 2 fights that were canceled with lows on, and it was a lot.
I mean, those were for him. You get up in age, and I can imagine how those weight cuts are just killers. And that was the other thing about this fight. It was that it was at 170. They both didn't have to cut any weight. They're both walking around at 170 basically. Yep. So they're not really cutting any weight, and that's a good deal for both of these guys because to go through that weight cut and get down to 155 is pretty gruesome. Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, 2 veterans, whatever. It was a great fight, and I love seeing these guys, and I love kind of seeing the veterans get in the ring, and you wonder how much longer Miller's going to do it, but Miller's looked good. Miller's looked good in his last 3 fights. He's looked great.
Yeah, with guys like Jim Miller, and obviously we won't see Cowboy fight anymore, but you're watching history. You're every time Jim Miller fights, he's setting another record for the most fights in the UFC. You know what I mean? He's just really remarkable that he's still competing. One thing I did want to just mention, I'm looking at their records right now, MMA records. It's just crazy. Like, a lot of these guys are 10-3, 13-5. Jim Miller's 35-16-0. Cowboys 36-17-0.
Yeah.
Like, it's just crazy how many MMA fights these guys have. So it's really remarkable that Donald Cerrone went as long as he did, and Jim Miller's still going. So
And I heard a crazy stat yesterday too on the broadcast that Cerrone, well, we can correct this if I'm wrong, but started 2011 up to 2020. Before that, 3 fights a year.
Every year?
Every year for 10 years.
That's
Cerrone
amazing.
fought.
Wow.
So 3 fights a year for 10 years up until 2020. Well, almost 10 years, 2020.
That's incredible.
Yeah,
That's incredible. I mean, like, that's 3 weight cuts a year. That's
I mean, it's super active. You don't see guys that are
that's
that
no injuries.
active.
You know.
Yeah, you just don't see that activity from guys like that.
That's why when you see a champion who's really active, it's super admirable. Like, you know, someone like Charles Oliveira or Volkanovski, and since he's been champion, has been incredibly active.
Usman, super active. I mean, those guys want to fight.
Right. Yeah.
All right, so we'll move on to Jalin Turner and Brad Riddell, which lasted all of 45 seconds.
Yes.
Yeah, it was weird. I didn't really realize when I looked at the card who Jalin Turner was, and then when the fight was starting, I remembered who, just like
Gabe Green.
Like Gabe Green, I thought, oh shit, it's this guy, and then it's this guy, because I was thinking to myself, like, Brad Riddell. Brad Riddell is the guy who trains with Volkanovski and Adesanya.
Right. Yep. They're part of that New Zealand Aussie camp.
Yep. Yeah. So I was thinking, oh, maybe Brad Riddell, this guy's got some good training, blah, blah, blah. And then I thought, oh, shit, Jalin Turner. Yeah, this guy is a beast. And,
absolute killer. Yeah.
And he absolutely proved it right there. I mean, he was he was on him, submitted him in 45 seconds, and the fight was over. I mean, there was nothing. Yeah. Nothing really. There was nothing really from Riddell that was gonna, even threaten Jalin Turner. I thought it was just pure domination as far as that goes. Right. And I think Jalin Turner is a force to be reckoned with. I mean, this guy he looks really, really good. Yeah. Really long, really tall, kind of skinny, but really moves really well, and just has been improving the whole time, I think. So,
definitely. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, full transparency, I was driving here while this fight was happening. I live 8 minutes away. I didn't think it was going to be a 45-second fight. So yeah, I definitely can't speak too much on that, but I'm glad that whatever. No, Jalin Turner is an absolute beast. I've definitely I was kind of in the same boat as you. Didn't really realize that he was on this card. Probably saw it, read it, didn't think too much of it. And then saw Jalin Turner on the card, and I was like, wow.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's that, but moving on to the main card.
Yeah. Obviously incredibly stacked. We'll say that one more time just because International Fight Week. This is the one to watch. But it ended up being kind of a snoozer. Some of them. Some of the fights were kind of whatever. I don't know. We'll start with the opener. So, Sean O'Malley, Pedro Munhoz. Very anticipated because of who Sean O'Malley is. Obviously, we're big Sean O'Malley fans here, NFT holders and all that. So, obviously, we were pretty hyped up for this one, and it ended up being pretty anticlimactic.
Yeah, like I said, I this is one of those fights that I thought was going to be a real test for O'Malley. I mean, Munhoz is no joke, came in, but it's also a fight that I'm just finding myself being super critical and questioning Munhoz. I know there was an eye poke, and I know eye pokes are brutal sometimes, and I get it, but just by his body language, and like I said, I hate to be critical of these guys because I know Munhoz is a great fighter. Right. But I just I didn't understand his body language after it happened. I didn't understand. It just seemed like he wanted the fight to be over. Yeah. I don't know. I don't get it.
The thing was, right. I'm not going to comment on how bad it looked, how bad the eye poke looked, because we don't know, right? But
no, you don't know. I mean, like you said, eye poke, sometimes the hand is like this, goes forward, right into the eye.
I'm just saying I've seen worse, but maybe he pushed the eye back.
Well, that's the thing. His hand was straight up, but also straight up means it might have went, into his eye, which is obviously it did go into his eye because it's not
put it this way, Sean did the right thing. That's what they teach you. If your hand's going to be open, it's fingers up.
Yeah.
Because obviously you don't want to.
Purely accidental, obviously. But that being said, it's just, the first round, I don't know. People are giving it to Pedro, I guess, but pretty back and forth. Leg kicks back and forth. Yeah. Pedro threw almost all leg kicks, I think.
I was going to say he might have thrown 2 punches.
I don't think he threw many punches. And And O'Malley didn't do much either. You know, I mean, he was sticking and moving and feeling. You know, it was kind of a feel out round, like a lot of them are. But
you know,
but I don't know. I just obviously I think it's just more our disappointment than anything else because we wanted to see the fight and I wanted to see Sean tested. I want to see him tested and see what he's really got. You know, what does he have against a veteran, really good fighter?
Yeah.
And we didn't get to see that.
It's tough. It was definitely disappointing. We're purely, fans. We have, our own intentions for this. And we wanted to see Sean O'Malley get tested, like you said. The good thing is we'll probably see him fight really soon.
Hopefully they make him fight again. I mean, I don't know. I'd like to see it again, to be honest. I think it's the right guy at the right time. And I think that, I'm an O'Malley fan too, not as big as you are or Joe is or whatever, but I want to see him tested. I want to see him get taken down, and I want to see what he's got under extreme pressure from a really good fighter. And that's why I was disappointed mostly, because I didn't get to see any of that.
I know. We didn't.
Like
we
none
didn't.
Of that.
We didn't get any of that. And one thing, like you said, Pedro maybe got the first round. It seemed like at least he should have taken the full 5 minutes, not 10 minutes, 5 minutes or more time to try to recover. It seemed like the eye poke happened. He was talking to Jason Herzog. He basically right away told him, all I can see is black. I can't see anything, whatever. Jason calls a doctor in. The doctor looks at him, asks him the same question. He tells him the same thing, and the doctor says, no, whatever, it's off. And it was pretty quick. It was, a minute and a half,
maybe?
2 minutes tops.
I mean, maybe take 5 and see where you're at after that. That's just my opinion.
I mean,
you're in there. You're in there to do a job. You're in there to fight. You should give it your all. And that's just, look, I'm being super critical and I'm being an asshole probably about it, but I don't agree with it. I think he should take the 5 minutes and see how you're feeling after that, because a lot of these guys get poked. A lot of the pokes I see, guys come back.
Continue.
Like they continue. They want to continue. It just did not seem like you wanted to continue.
It's a good point. Like you said, not trying to be assholes, but it didn't seem like whatever. I'll say this. I've seen ones that look so much worse that, the finger looks like it's all the way in the eye, and then he takes a couple minutes and, he looks really fucked up and it probably really hurts, but he still fights. You know what I mean? Maybe, I don't know. Not a fan of Pedro right now.
Yeah, so I'm not going to belabor this issue, but I was more disappointed than anything else, and I just thought Munhoz just didn't. His body language just made me think he wanted to quit. Yep. And I'm probably wrong, whatever, but it is what it is, and that's just me observing it as a fan that paid $75 to see this.
Right.
That's the other thing. We saw a round and not even a round and a half, and we didn't see anything from these guys, So
it's disappointing. And like you just said, it's probably a lot of our bias being, really big UFC fans and really anticipating not only the whole card but this fight. It's probably a little bit of our bias from that, but definitely disappointed in the opener of the main card.
That's just the way things are. I mean, you get put on the main card and you get I want to see something. As a fan, I want to see him tested. I want to see O'Malley tested.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, we're not like when we say we want to see something, it's not like we need to see a knockout or something like you said, we want to see him tested on the ground. We want to see what his grappling game looks like. We want to see what his jiu-jitsu looks like.
Yeah,
we want to see
we want to see him against a Pedro who's a really good striker. And
of course, yeah, absolutely.
I don't even know, like I said, I don't even know how many landed 1 or 2 punches in the first round. That was about it.
Yeah.
It was all leg kicks, and Sean was checking most of them. It seemed like
he was doing a really good job of checking them.
I mean, it's
So
all right, whatever. I'm just sore about that fight.
Yeah, I know.
Because I was more disappointed in that than I've been in a long time, to be honest. So
for sure, but let's move on to something a little bit better.
But move on to Bryan Barberena, Robbie Lawler, crazy fight.
Dude.
Probably the best fight of the night, I think.
Yeah.
Most entertaining fight of the night.
I really didn't think Robbie Lawler was that good. I thought that he looked a lot better than he really was against Nick Diaz because Nick Diaz didn't look that great, in my opinion. I'm just being honest. That's what I thought. I don't agree with that now. Definitely not.
Well, and previous to that, he didn't look that great. He looked like a guy on the way out.
Yeah, for sure.
You know,
I don't know what it was. Maybe did he? I don't know. Yeah,
I don't know. He looks like the old Robbie Lawler.
Fast.
Like he looks like the old Robbie Lawler. Like, you know, maybe not champion tier Robbie Lawler, but I mean, you know, I mean, granted it was Nick Diaz, and you know, but I mean, he looked dominating against Nick Diaz.
Yeah,
completely dominating.
Seriously.
And then comes into this fight, and they're throwing. I mean, first round, they're throwing back and forth.
Yep.
Barberena's doing these crazy things where he's just constant, like he's just moving his hands like this.
Yeah.
Like just landing sometimes not. Then he mixes it up and throws it hard.
Right. Was he the one that kept doing those back elbows too?
Yeah. He's coming in this way, coming in this way.
And then, he'd come in and come up like that. It was crazy. Yeah, it was.
Yeah. So cool. He's doing all these crazy, you know, constant. What did they say? 190.
It was
significant strike attempts or something.
Attempted significant strikes in the first round from Bryan Barberena.
And, you know,
which seemed kind of stupid. I don't know. These aren't really like.
Yeah, they're not significant strikes, but then Lawler, you know, kind of fending all that off and then throwing bombs in between. Like, I mean, that was the difference. Yeah. He was not throwing the activity that Barberena was, but in between, he's throwing hard jabs.
I was going to say,
and catching him with some massive bombs in between.
Yeah, it was definitely you know, Barberena definitely went with a strategy of quantity, and Lawler went with quality of punches. He was throwing a lot of power. He had the power. And then, like you said, the first round was an absolute banger. Going into the second round, if you're good on the first round, did you have anything else?
I'm good, yeah.
Okay, so going into the second round of that fight, it seemed like Lawler, like the power of Robbie Lawler was going to win,
I thought eventually.
In the beginning of the second round, it seemed like he was really tagging Bryan with some shots. It seemed like
he did, and that's what I said when we were watching it. It was like, I think he's going to slow him down.
Yeah.
Like a couple good shots, and he's going to slow him down. And he did a little bit. But, I mean, Barberena's, he absorbed a lot of punishment.
Durable, yeah.
And he's so durable. It's like, but, you know, something happened. I don't know. It seemed like I said, Lawler hit him with a couple good shots. I thought it was going to slow him down. Yeah. Slowed him down for a second, but Barberena came right back, landed some crazy shots against Lawler, and then just overwhelmed him with shots.
Right.
That's what happened.
That's the perfect word, I think, was he overwhelmed them at the end and, caught him too many times.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it was a perfect stoppage by the referee, too. This was the one where, it was like, I don't know. I had never seen what I thought was a perfect timed stoppage by a referee.
Yeah.
It was literally perfect. He was kind of about to get knocked out and I don't know. It seemed like the perfect timing for, I forget who the ref was for this fight.
Was it Jason Miller? I don't know who it was.
I mean, Jason Herzog. I think
it was Jason Herzog. Anyways, it was a perfect stop fight. I mean, Lawler was out on his feet. You could tell one more punch, he might get seriously hurt, and I thought it was a perfect stoppage. He wasn't not coming back from that. No. And it was great. I mean, where do we go from here? Where's Barberena? I mean, I don't know. I think he showed a lot against Lawler, who many thought probably was washed up, whatever, but you watch the fight again and tell me he's washed up. I don't think he is.
Yeah. No, definitely not. You're talking about Lawler, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he looked incredibly fast. And he was, like I said, in the beginning of the second round, I thought he was going to, I thought the power was going to prevail over quantity of punches, but it didn't.
Right.
It didn't.
Yeah. So crazy fight there, but I mean, I'd like to see Barberena fight some. I mean, I can't wait to see who he's going to fight, to be honest. I don't know, but
it's going to be
I'm just saying, I think he's showed a lot in this fight, and, Robbie Lawler was not just laying down and giving up on this one. It was
definitely not.
It was a great fight. So, all right, moving on to Alex Pereira. Pereira.
If you watched the last video, we struggled with this as well.
It's Pereira.
Anyways,
Alex Pereira
versus Sean Strickland,
world-renowned kickboxer who's recently joined the UFC.
Yep. So now 6-1. He got the win, TKO in the first round.
and Sean Strickland. Yeah, I don't know. I just thought, what's going into this fight, I thought, what's going to be Strickland's strategy? And his strategy was to stand right in front of him and trade. And I don't think that was not the right move.
I just don't know why in the world, if you are the number 4 ranked fighter and you are a wrestler and you're going up against someone who has not been in MMA for a long time and has a kickboxing background, why are you trying to kickbox, dude? Or why are you trying to stand in front of him with your arms and not even...
and he's got such a weird... he carries his... his hands are like this. It's just whatever.
It's not...
But anyways, I saw a quote from him early, before the fight, of him saying, yeah, my ego is going to take over probably and try and beat this guy at his game. Yeah. Which was the wrong move because he got fucking
mollywopped.
I mean, it was
implemented into the canvas bad.
And like you said, the accuracy of Pereira on he hits him once, and then there were 2 more punches as Strickland was falling down
that he connected with perfectly.
Yeah,
perfectly
connected as 1 and then 2 on the
That is my favorite
2 at the lower level
highlight in MMA and mixed martial arts is when someone knocks someone. Like, they knock them down, and they're hitting them as they're falling. Connor did it with Jose Aldo, too. It is, the best, I don't know. That's the best display of, accuracy, I feel like, because you're, I don't know. Yeah. It's awesome. But, yeah.
So, whatever. I think it was a big mistake by Strickland, and, he's probably going to say it wasn't or whatever he's going to say because he just says whatever he wants. But
it's crazy, man.
But, yeah, I mean, it sets up what they wanted to set up was Izzy, Pereira rematch, not rematch in the UFC, but, just getting him back in the ring together after Pereira, was the only man to knock Izzy out.
Yeah.
Not in UFC, but kickboxing.
Right.
So,
granted, it was a long time ago, but yeah, no, obviously that's the fight to make now.
Yeah. So that's what they wanted, and that's kind of what they got. And,
yeah.
Kudos for them, I guess.
All right. Co-main event. Obviously you already know Volk Holloway 3. Another, I would say, underwhelming fight, unfortunately. I feel like those things happen though when you have a fight like this that is so beyond hyped up. It's one of the better, could have been one of the better trilogies in UFC history. Sometimes things underperform. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's just not what everybody expected it to be. I don't know.
Yeah, it wasn't. And I think there were 2 factors, really. I think Volkanovski came out and looked incredible, more quicker than he's ever been, better than he's ever been, and extremely well prepared. And Holloway didn't look like Holloway. It didn't look like Max. He wasn't throwing with the volume. He looked tentative. And maybe that was a game plan. But
he did look tentative.
From the time the bell rang, it was Volkanovski 100% all the time.
It was, yeah.
And it wasn't, show. I mean, they had some exchanges here or there or whatever, but, I mean, there was no doubt Volkanovski was the better fighter.
Yeah.
And it's disappointing. It was... it was kind of disappointing in the fact that it wasn't a better fight because we were all hoping to see a better fight, and it was clear domination by Volkanovski. Just absolute, whatever. I hate to even say it because I love Max, but it's like he just didn't show up. Yeah. I don't think.
Yeah, and it's it's tough because we were expecting this. This is supposed to be one of those fights where these are some of the most evenly matched fighters ever to face. They're so close in the pound-for-pound rankings, and they're actually competing at the same time in the same weight class. It's a crazy thing. So yeah, we thought it was just going to be more competitive than it was. That's the story, in my opinion, anyway.
Yeah, I just didn't think we were going to see what we saw. I wouldn't have predicted this outcome. Definitely I would have predicted maybe, I think in the end I thought Volkanovski was going to win. That was what I thought before the fight. But not like this. I thought it was going to be a close decision again.
Yeah.
Or, maybe he was going to be better and Max would win a couple rounds. But, I mean, Max just did not. Unfortunately, he just did not. And maybe it was because Volkanovski looked so much better. Maybe. I don't know.
Volkanovski was also, like, kind of yelling at him or right when the fight started.
Yeah, in the first round
it looked like he kind of threw Max off a little.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not a big Volk fan. I don't really, like, watch his fights, all of his fights intently, things like that. That's not true. I watched pretty much all of his fights, I would say, in recent years. But he's never done shit like that.
Well, and I think Max got him pissed off. I mean, Max in the press conferences was yelling at him and saying, this is, and that's what Volkanovski said. It's like, I needed that. I needed that someone to do that to me, to bring that out and make me display that I'm the best fighter in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he's like, hitting him in the face saying he's too quick, like shit like that.
Yeah.
Which is whatever. I'm not.
Yeah. I mean, it was
I had
pure dominance, and it was kind of whatever. Sad to see because Max looked great in his last two fights. He looked great. Yeah. Looked like this is going to be all we expected it to be, and it just wasn't. Yeah, it was disappointing to see, but and that's the thing. It's like where, we were talking today. Where does Volkanovski go from here? Is there anybody else at 140 that he's, or what is it, 145?
I think it's 135, isn't it?
135?
Or what?
I'm sorry.
I'm so bad with the weight classes. I know. 145. Sorry.
Yeah, so 145. Is there any? Who else is at 145 that he's really gonna? I just don't think. I don't see anybody that's given him any kind of competition whatsoever.
Yeah, I know.
Anymore. Not after this.
Not after this. Not after Ortega. I mean,
it's crazy. I mean, I realistically, I want him to go to 155.
Yeah.
And see what happens at 155 because there's so many good fighters at 155.
Maybe you make the Oliveira fight. Maybe you make the I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, why not?
Yeah.
Why not see what he can do against Oliveira?
That would be crazy.
I don't know.
That would be crazy.
I just don't.
Crazy in a good way, obviously, but that would be an awesome matchup.
Yeah. I mean, Oliveira basically steamrolled through everybody else in that division right now, and why not make that fight now?
I agree. I agree. That would be amazing.
Why not sign him up?
Or even fucking Michael Chandler or someone like that. You know what I mean?
It'd be crazy. It'd be crazy to see Volkanovski go up to that and face some of those beasts up there.
That's my favorite division, I think.
I mean,
just
Gaethje,
I don't know, whatever.
Chandler.
There's just so many good fighters, so many crazy fighters. You got obviously it's Connor's Division 2, it's Poirier's Division 2. It's it's a lot of that 155 is crazy right now.
There's a lot of good fighters, and you can't forget about Ferguson either. I just think, and I think Ferguson's going to make a comeback. And look,
he looked so fast.
No, he looked great against Chandler until he got blasted in the face. But he looked
really fast.
I thought he was going to beat Chandler in that first round. I thought, man, he looks really, really good.
Yeah, but yeah, it's just tough for Max now because it's hard to make a fourth fight now. You know what I mean?
No,
it's not going to happen.
Yeah, it's definitely.
It's not going to happen.
It's definitely over after that. And I just, whatever. It was kind of a disappointing fight. Great performance by Volkanovski, and we can't take anything away from him because he dominated and showed that he's the better fighter and showed that he's probably pound for pound one of the best in the UFC right now.
Agreed.
It's got to be.
Agreed.
Got to be. Put him up there with Usman right now. I think.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. That's all I got. That's all you got.
Yeah. So let's move on to the other co-main event.
Yeah, I was gonna say this. So I don't really even call like the Volk Holloway 3 yet. That wasn't a co-main, at least leading up to it.
Yeah.
It was the other main event. So obviously the actual main event though, Izzy versus Jared Cannonier. I know we put out a video about what we thought before the fights and everything. I really thought Cannonier was gonna just use his size a little more and just get on top of Izzy or try to really get him to the ground. But that wasn't really the story either. As you know,
and like I said, I woke up this morning trying to think about what I thought about the fights, and I am being super critical again, but I didn't get Cannonier's game plan, to be honest.
Yeah.
I just didn't get it. I mean, you know that Izzy is the longer guy and he's going to pick you apart and move in and move out. And, Cannonier had some moments where he got him up against the cage, but he did nothing. Like, I mean, he just did nothing. You're not going to win a round by just holding him up against the cage. It's just not.
It's true. There's got to be, you got to really.
He did not, he had him up against the cage, and there was no, like, pullback, separation, throw an elbow, nothing. There was just nothing going on.
There's not a lot of that, definitely.
Yeah.
And that's what you got to do. I feel like if you're going to go in there against a champion like Izzy, who has been dominant and ran through the whole division, you got to really do something to try to put some pressure on him. Someone who hasn't been really pressured by anybody but fucking Kelvin Gastelum and, and Blachowicz too. But I'm just saying.
Yeah, I mean, Blachowicz, but listen, Cannonier is not that far away from Blachowicz as far as size goes, and Blachowicz told him without telling him, this is the path to victory.
It's the blueprint.
You get him down and stay on top of him, and Blachowicz stood on top of him for 3 rounds, and he couldn't get up.
Yeah,
that's why he won.
Yeah, definitely.
Cannonier didn't do any of that.
I thought it was going to be like you said. Yeah, I thought that was the game plan, but it wasn't. One thing that you brought up earlier when we were talking that was kind of interesting that Izzy said was, I don't know what it was about Jared Cannonier's defense, but he was doing something, whether it was breaking up the timing or whatnot, that wasn't really allowing Izzy to just get into his combinations and really unload and do those crazy combinations that we see Izzy do, where he's got those weird uppercuts and fucking whatnot.
Yeah, and Izzy's post-fight interview, that's what he said. He said, I give credit to Cannonier's camp because it was really not allowing me to really follow through with a couple shots and then, adjustments. It wasn't like I was really able to unload on him or whatever. I don't know what Cannonier was doing, and I didn't really see that in the fight, to be honest, but I don't know.
I was going to say, that might have been something that's a little above our technical knowledge of MMA and things like that, but because like you said, I don't really know what Cannonier was doing defensively, but clearly worked. He didn't allow Izzy to do anything crazy.
Yeah. So, I just thought, basically, to sum up the fight, I thought it was a lot of Izzy picking him apart, moving in, throwing quick combinations, moving back out. Typical Izzy stuff.
Yeah.
High volume, a lot of leg kicks, I thought. I mean, I thought he was there was a ton of leg kicks.
There's some nice high kicks.
Yeah. I mean, a few of them looked good. Some got through, some didn't. Yeah. Definitely picking him apart with a jab.
I was going to say,
he really went right through the defense and, I mean,
really displayed his ability to strike at range and get out and really stay safe. Like I said, he doesn't take too much damage or anything like that. But yeah, he really just kind of picked Jared apart from afar. And
and I just thought, I don't know, like the 5th round, I was disappointed too. Sorry, there's a lot of disappointments in this whole UFC 276, but I just was disappointed in Cannonier in the 5th round. I don't know, and granted, whatever, I'm not a fighter. These guys are tired. You fight 5 rounds against a champion, you're going to be tired, but you're losing the fight anyway. Like, if it goes to a decision, you're losing the fight anyway.
Yeah.
And why not take a chance? Why not go at him and just go fucking bananas and throw haymakers? And you get knocked out, you get knocked out.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
You come to fight another day.
Yeah.
You might as well take a chance in the 5th round. He just did nothing in the 5th round.
Yeah.
Nothing. I think he caught him with a couple good shots maybe, but it was like a couple good shots, and then that was it. A couple good shots here, maybe. And he had him, that I think it was the 5th round where he had him a couple up against the fence. He landed a couple good shots, but that was it. That was the highlight for Cannonier, I thought.
Yeah, and he wasn't. He like you said, landed a couple good shots, sure, but didn't do any damage or anything like that.
Yeah, and then when we, to be honest, when I saw the replay, I thought, okay, maybe it was one good shot, but it's like one glancing blow and then maybe one decent shot, but But I don't know. It was disappointing, and I feel like the card in itself, was so hyped up that, it's hard to live up to the hype, and it's hard to live up to that, a lot of great fights, a lot of great fighters on the card, a lot of great matchups, and,
sometimes
disappointments. I mean,
don't forget that it's a live sport. You know what I mean? This is not. It seems like it's so like drawn up sometimes because they like to do these matches and really build up the hype and this and that. But it just goes to show that this is not some sort of WWE type thing where it's not for entertainment purposes. This is a sport, and this is sometimes fights are going to be boring or things like that, and that's just how it is.
Yeah, we all know what we're getting, and I'm not trying to be critical, but you're right. You sign up for WrestleMania, it's going to be awesome.
You're getting flames and chairs.
It's going to be guys jumping off of steel cages and whatever.
Yeah, and if you like that,
but that's great. But that's what makes the UFC the greatest sport, in my opinion, is that you never know what you're going to get. Yeah, sometimes they're going to be boring. Sometimes they're not going to be. Sometimes they're going to be, like you said, not for the common fan. It's like guys are wrestling the whole time. People don't like that. People start booing, which I think is complete bullshit because they don't understand what's happening.
Right.
And that's fine. But it's not like we're not those people. We can appreciate good jiu-jitsu back and forth and good ground games and things like that. But this wasn't even that though. Like the Uriah Hall fight. I just keep thinking about that, and it's just like they were just laying there. And at one point they said in the broadcast during the Izzy fight, there wasn't one takedown in the main card.
They said,
Not one takedown. Not one takedown in the main card, which is crazy. So basically, we're watching boxing, but
some kicks and things.
Well, like I said, I mean, highlights to me of this was Barberena was awesome. I thought that was probably for me fight of the night.
Yeah.
Jalin Turner, quick but awesome.
Dominant, swift effort. Alex Pereira, definitely.
Yeah. Pereira. I'm skipping over that a little bit, but
he just showed us. One thing on that, we said in our preview video that we'll know right away if Pereira is the real deal or not. We knew right away.
Seems like it. I mean, I think Strickland had a completely wrong game plan in that, but I mean.
Yeah.
But if Pereira didn't knock him out, then we would have been questioning him, and Pereira got the job done, and that's.
Yeah, that's the thing. If Strickland goes in there with that game plan and doesn't get demolished, then Pereira's not.
Yeah.
If Pereira doesn't do that, then he's not. I
think too we're being I'm being a little too critical because of the buildup of these fights, and then you look at it and you look back on the card, and there were some. There were some great fights. Like I thought the Ian Garry fight was good.
Yeah.
Du Plessis was great. I thought it was just, like, I love those kind of fights. When I see a guy that's like not your standard jiu-jitsu guy or your standard boxer or your like, this guy was crazy. Like, I just thought he was
super
like,
unorthodox.
he just was super. Yeah, exactly. Like something I've never seen before, which I love.
Right.
Like that guy, I want to see him fight again.
100%. Yeah. No. Of course, there's takeaways and things like that, but you're as a fan, you're allowed to be a little upset too at an underwhelming card, especially when it's International Fight Week. But keep going back to, like you said, it's a live sport. Sometimes, even when you can put all the best fighters on a card, you can put all these fighters that really draw a lot of attention. Sometimes fights just aren't.
Yeah, sometimes they just don't.
And then
come through like you expect, and there's a lot of them that happen on this card. But to be honest, I think Izzy's fight, I kind of expected that. Like, I kind of expected him to just
he's got to play it
dominate for 5 rounds, stick and move, and be too fast for Cannonier, and be very careful about getting hit.
Right.
And that's what happened.
Yeah. Because Cannonier does have that power.
But like I said, still exciting. And
then there's fight night. One thing, sorry, not to cut you off. One thing, too, is there's fight nights that nobody watches that end up being crazy, that are way better than this ended up being.
Right.
It's just a give and take. And like you said, sometimes it's not for the casual fan.
And I think what you're getting with the pay-per-views is you're getting to see the best fighters on the roster.
Yeah.
And
definitely. And
what's great about the fight nights is you're getting to see a lot of up-and-coming fighters that are going to be the next great. It's like like I said, I forgot about Jalin Turner. I forgot about Gabe Green. It's like these guys fought on maybe fight nights or whatever, and you forget about these guys, and you forget to see that, hey, these are guys that are, these guys are going to make, these guys are going to make some noise in the future, I think.
Exactly.
Maybe not Gabe Green, but Jalin Turner for sure. I mean, Gabe Green's been around for a while.
For sure.
Yeah, Ian Garry's,
he's 10-0, he's 24.
Yeah.
Give him 6 years.
It's going to be great. So all in all, a little disappointing, I think, and I hate to be critical, and I hate to come across like that, but it is what it is. Sorry.
It is what it is.
I don't hold back on opinions.
I guarantee you, a lot of people feel the same way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If we were here telling you how exciting every fight was, it wouldn't.
Yeah. I don't know.
You know what I mean?
I don't know. I haven't seen anybody else's review of the, we're doing this the day after,
early,
and
so
I haven't seen any reviews. I haven't really read anything online or whatever. I'm just telling you how I feel.
Yeah, you're getting our pure, right. We watched the fights last night. I read a little bit. I'm sure you read a little bit. We didn't even watch it a second time. So I feel like this is the best way to do a review, honestly.
Yeah, because I feel like if you watch,
and
you watch, whatever, any of these other podcasts and things like that, your views are gonna be skewed a little bit based on what they say.
For sure.
And
we want to give you just what we think, nothing else. So
that's it.
Cool. All right. That's all I got. If that's all you got.
Yeah, that's all I got. So
wrapping it up.
On to the next one.
Really excited for actually the next is a fight night, July 9th. It's RDA versus Rafael Zayev.
Yeah,
that's going to be a great fight. Looks like some other names on the card too, so definitely going to be a lot of 5 City. Oh, Syed Nurmagomedov.
Oh, nice.
Is on that. Our first viral tweet came from him. Not from him, but it was a video of him. So there you go. We'll definitely be bringing a lot of 5 City content on that as well. So I really appreciate you guys tuning in. See you next time.
We're out.